Hi there, this is Imaneo. Welcome to my channel. So in this series we are trying to implement a game using Flutter and Flame game engine from scratch, and it is called Flappy Dash, and it is just like the FlappyBird, but I just replaced the bird with the dash that we have here. And I think this is the fifth episode, and if you haven't watched the previous episodes, I highly suggest you to watch them because it's a series and you need to watch all of them. And in today's video we are going to implement some obstacles, the pipes I mean. And yeah, so by the way, this is the state of the current game that we have, and if I run it again, you see that we have a dash in the center of the screen and it jumps using the space or using the tap or click. So now we are going to add some obstacles or pipes here, and let me open the Photoshop. Yeah, so we are going to use this pipe in the game, and as you know, we need to have two of them. For example, one of them here, one of them on the top side. And yeah, so it is something like this, and you can have multiple of them. You can put them like this or like this. Yeah, so then we can move the pipes towards the left side of the screen, and that's it. So I'm just going to import one of them. So if you have this pipe, you can rotate it to use it for the top side. And let me import it to the project. Yeah, let's put it here. Yeah, so as you see, we have the pipe here. It is the bottom pipe, but for the top side we need to rotate it. And now let's create a new component. It is called pipe, and I think we need to do a pop get. Oh, by the way, we are in the part 4 branch. Let's switch to another branch called part 5. As you know, in each episode we are trying to create a new branch, so this way we can compare the source code with the previous episodes to see what is happening. And yeah, so let's do a pop get. Okay, so now let's implement the pipe. I'm gonna use a position component. Okay, so at first I'm gonna create a late sprite called pipe sprite. And if you don't know what a sprite is, we explained it in the previous episode, but it is just an image that we can render it in the canvas. And in the onload method, which is a future of void, because we need to load the sprite and it loads asynchronously. So let's wait for the super, and here we can say pipe sprite is await of sprite.load, and here we can say images. So because it is inside the images, we don't need to mention it. Flame knows that sprites are inside the assets / images. So here we can just say pipe.png, and I'm gonna set the position here. Position is gonna be vector2 of 0 and 0. And for the anchor, I'm going to choose the top center, because as you remember, pipe is like this, but I'm gonna let the flame grab this from here, from the top center point. And I'm gonna set anchor to anchor.top center. Now let's define the size here. For example, we can say vector2 of 100 on, I don't know, 200. For sure we need to edit it later, but let's see how does it look like. So now we are able to render it. So there's a method called render, as you remember, and here we can just import it and do the super.render. And now we are able to render the sprite. So there is a method called render, I believe, here, and you can provide the canvas and also the position and size. But let's see how does it look like with the position of 0. Yeah, so if we run, oh, by the way, we need to add it in the game, in the main or in the Flappy Dash game. We can add it like this. So we are gonna add a pipe here. And yeah, so let's run the game. Okay, so yeah, we have the pipe now, but it is too large. So let's decrease the size. For example, let's decrease the width to something like 40 maybe. And oh, by the way, we are not using the size here. Let's set the size to component.size. Yeah, so let's set it back to 100. And yeah, I think it is enough, the width I mean, but the height should be follow the aspect ratio. But before that, let me disable the dash movement. So let's have it in the center of the screen. Yeah, so here we need to set the height based on the height of the image. I mean, we need to keep the aspect ratio. To do that, we can define a ratio variable here, and it's gonna be pipe sprite dot size dot y divided by pipe sprite dot size dot x. And then we can multiply it with 100. That's the width of our pipe. And if we run again, yeah, so it seems it is working well. And let's define a width here, which is 100, and we can use it like this. And it should be a double, by the way. Okay, so now we have the pipe. Maybe we need to decrease the size to something like 82 maybe. Yeah, it feels better. And also the anchor point is top center, so it's working correctly. By the way, as you remember, we have a property called debug mode, so we can set it to true to check the bounding box of the pipe that we have. So it is drawing correctly inside the bounding box that it has, and the anchor point is top center. So as you see, there's a plus icon here and it works well. So let's remove the debug mode. And yeah, and also we need to add another one on the top side. So let's define another component called pipe pair.dart. So this is a wrapper around two pipes that we have on the bottom and on the top, and it's like a parent or a wrapper for the pipe pair that we have. So let's call it pipe pair, and it extends a position component. And let's add the constructor here. So we need to get the position from who wants to create a pipe pair. So it's gonna be required super.position. And by the way, I think we can remove the super. Yeah. And now let's implement the unload method. And here we can change it to void because we don't have any async job. It's a sync function, and we are gonna call add all, and here we are gonna add a pipe and another pipe. So it's gonna contain two pipes. And by the way, if we add it here, so it's in the Flappy Dash word, and here we can just add the pipe pair, and let's say the position is vector2 of 0 and 0. And if you run the game, you see that the pipes are stacked on top of each other. So we need to rotate the other one that is showing on the top. And to do that, we can have a flag here. For example, we can say bool is flip, and it's a final variable, and let's add it in the constructor. Oh, by the way, we don't need to have a lot of parameters here. Yeah. And it's a required field. And there's a function, I think it is called flip vertically. So it is defined in the position component. So it changed the transform to flip it vertically. and we can just say if is flipped is true, let's flip it, and otherwise let's draw it normally. So if we go here, the first one is flipped is false, and the second one is true. So this is the top pipe, this is the bottom pipe. Yeah, as you see, we have the pipes now, and the point is that we need to have a gap between them. So there should be a space to allow the bird or allow the dash to move between the pipes. So let's define the gap here. So it's gonna be, I don't know, 100. And now we need to change the pipe constructor to accept the position. Instead of setting it on 0 and 0, we can add the position here, and it's gonna be a required field, and let's remove it from here. So when we create the pipe, we need to set the position, and it's gonna be a vector2 of 0 and gap. So the point is that for the top one, we need to decrease the y, so it's gonna be minus, and for the bottom one, we need to increase the y. And if I run the game again, you see that we have the gap. But the point is that gap is 100, but now we have 200 space because it is 100 on the top and 100 on the bottom. So let's divide it by 2, and now we have 100 gap in between. And because it is not enough, we need to increase it to something like 200. I think 200 is good. And yeah, so by the way, now we have two pipes that are on the bottom and on the top. And also we have the position of the pipe pair that we can change it, for example, minus 200. So if you run the game, you see that it goes up. Or if you change it to 300, it goes bottom. So this way we can add lots of pipe pairs with different position in Y. So this way we can have pipes with the space or with the gap on different points of the screen. And yeah, so for example, we can add another one here. This one is 0. This one is 200. The other one is minus 200. And let's increase it by 100 and 200. So we are increasing the X and we are changing the Y for different position in the screen. And if you run it, you see that we have pipes that they are with different position in the screen, but they are so close together. Let's have more space. And yeah, so let's have more space again, maybe 300 and here 600. Yeah, so I think this space is enough. And yeah, but the third one is outside of the screen because it is on 600 X and it is on outside of the screen. By the way, we can move them to the left side. So to do that, we can do it in the update method. So we can update the position .x minus equals of something called dt. So for example, this is the speed. So let's define the speed here, and let's define it to something like 100 for now. And yeah, so we are in the pipe pair, so we just decrease the X position of the pipe pair, and it means that it goes to the left side of the screen. And if I run the game, you see that yeah, they are going to the left side of the screen. And yeah, so let's increase the distance between the pipes. So let's define a variable called distance, which is at the moment it is 300 between them, but let's make it 400 maybe. And instead of defining them one by one, let's create a for loop. For example, 0 to 20. And now we can add it like this. So we can say position is I times distance. So the first one is 0, the other one is 400, the other one is 800, and so on and so forth. And the x is something like 0 for now, and let's remove them. And if I run the game, you see that, yeah. Oh, by the way, the space is too much. Let's change it back to 300. Yeah, I think 300 is enough. It's a good value here. And yeah, so you see that we created all the pipes. We created not all the pipe, but 20 of them, and they are going to the left side of the screen. And yeah, so let's define some randomness for the position of them in the y-axis. So to do that, I'm gonna create a random here and call next double. And this function returns a value between 0 and 1, and now we can multiply it by 200, and we can use it here. So let's run the game again. Yeah, as you see now we have the randomness, so we generate the pipes based on the random value in the y-axis. And we can change it to 400 to increase the area that it can be generated. And let's see. Oh, by the way, I think it creates plus values all the time because we are multiplying a value that is between 0 and 1, and it's always positive. So let's make it 800 and decrease it by 400. So it means that the area is 400, sorry, area is 800, and here we just times it to area and minus it from area divided by 2. So this way it should generate the pipes on the top and on the bottom of the screen. Okay, so now we have a value between minus 400 and plus 400 for the y-axis. Oh, no, that is not good. So, okay, so let's decrease it. Let's decrease it to 700 because we don't want to show the pipes outside, inside of the screen. I mean, the starting point should be outside of the screen, and yeah, this is how it works. Let's increase the speed, so this way we can check all the position. This one is good, good. Okay. Yeah, I think the randomness value is good at the moment. And yeah, so it generates on the top and also on the bottom of the screen, and that is good. So let's uncomment the movement code to see how does it look like. Okay, we need to increase the gravity maybe because it's a little bit slow. Yeah, by the way, let's increase the speed. Where is that? Flappy, yeah, dash. So here we need to increase the gravity to, I don't know, 1000, and jump force to 600. Okay, let's increase the gravity to 1200 maybe. Decrease the jump force. And also let's decrease the randomness area, so it's 700, but let's decrease it to, I don't know, 600 maybe. Okay, it takes a long time to have the player on the bottom side, but also we can increase the distance. Let's try 400 to see. Yeah, it feels better, but let's increase the gravity to 1400. Yeah, it feels better now. I think these numbers are good for the game. Yeah, so I think we are good with these numbers, and let's go to the next step. Now we are generating the pipes with a hard-coded value here. So as you see, we have 20 of them, and after that it is done. So we need to implement a method to generate them infinitely. So you can go through an unlimited amount of pipes, and so we need to implement the mechanic. And to do that, we can create a method called generate pipes, and it's gonna get a number, for example count, and maybe distance, which is 400 by default, this value. And here we can copy paste this logic here, and also we can accept x variable here, for example from x. And now it is the starting point of the x. Now we can do like this. We can say x is from x plus I times distance. So from x is 0 by default. Maybe we can put it here, and we can call it here count is 20. By the way, let's put the count here and make it a required field, or we can just add 20 here. So this is the default value, and we can just generate pipes. And if I run it, yeah, you see that it is generating. And the point is that we need to generate them from here, not from the center. So we have a little bit time to decide where to go. And to do that, let's set the from x to something like 200 or 400 maybe. Yes, it's better, but 350. Yeah, it's a better number. And also we can, yeah, so we need to use the count here. Yeah, so now we have enough time to decide where to go. And now we need to generate them when we finish all the pipes. So let's decrease it to, for example, 5. Okay, so let's see how many pipes do we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is because we are counting 0 to 5. So let's remove the equals here. So it means 0 to 4. Or maybe we can change it to 1 to 5. Oh no, it should be 0 to count, because we expect to have 0 for the first one. And yeah, so now we need to generate the next batch when we reach the last one. So to do that, we can override the update method. It is here, update. And as you know, update is getting called in every frame, and we can check if dash dot x is larger or equals than the last pipe dot x, then we can generate the next batch. So we can call it here. And by the way, the point is that we need to have a reference of the last pipe always. So let's define a late of pipe pair, which is the last pipe, and it's gonna be like this. So yeah, so we define the last pipe when we create a pipe, so it's always the last pipe that we have in the screen when we generate the pipes. And here I can say when it is larger than the last pipe, and then we can generate a new one. And let's see how does it look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it generated from the same position that we had. Yeah, so we need to shift it, or we need to add the base, what was that, from x to something like the distance that we have. So it is 400. By the way, let's define it here, pipes distance, and it's gonna be a static, and let's make it private, and let's remove it from here, and we can have it here. And also we can say that we want to generate it from a pipe distance. So yeah, okay, so we have a mechanism to spawn new pipes as you go. So it's like an infinite game, and you can go further. Okay, so now we need to do something very important. You know, we are generating pipes, and it is adding to the components, and they exist in the game. So we need to remove the old ones, or remove the previous pipes that we had, to clean up the memory and free the space for the new pipes. And to do that, we can have a reference to the game. Maybe let's see, what do we have here. You know, I want to zoom out the camera to let you know that what is happening. Let's have a mixin here, has game ref, and game is something like this. And using this mixin, you will have access to the game in your component. So here we are in the word component, and we can say game.camera.viewfinder.zoom is 2, for example. Oh, it's zooming in, so we need to zoom out, for example 0.4 or 0.2. yeah, as you see here, we have pipes, and it's getting generated after the 5th one. Yeah, but we never clean the old ones. So let's change it to, for example, this number. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it is too small. Yeah, so you see that we generate 5 pipes, and then after that we generate 5 more. Yeah, so we need to clean the old ones that they are here. So to do that, we can say, when we generate new pipes, we can say try to remove old ones. or remove old ones. And in this method, we can say remove old pipes, maybe it's better. Okay, so now we can have a method that is children, and we can check if they are pipe pair. So this way we will have access to the childs that they are pipe. So let's have a reference to them and let's just print them to see if it is working correctly. Yeah, okay, so let's see what is happening here. Okay, we have 5 of them, it's correct. We have 5 pipes in the beginning, and then we have 10, and so on and so forth. So if you take a look, we just show 5 pipes in the screen, but to make sure that we don't miss anything, let's keep 10 of them at last. So I mean in the maximum, so we can keep 10 pipes in the maximum. So to do that, we can say pipes.length -10 and should be removed. So this is the number that we should remove, and we can say pipes.take and take this count of them, and then we can say for each, and we can say pipe.remove from parent. Yeah, here we take all of them and then we keep 10 of them, and then we iterate the components that we have to remove them. By the way, this number can be minus or negative, so that's why we need to have a max here, which is this one, and 0. And if it is a negative value, we just set 0 to this number, and then we iterate over them and we try to remove them from the parent. So let's run the game. Okay, so nothing happened. That's correct because we have 10 of them at the moment. And if you go further, okay, we haven't removed the old ones. It is not working. Oh, yeah, we just removed the old ones. How many items do we have at the moment? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so here we have 10 items and then we add 5 more. So that's why it is more than 10 items at the moment at the same time in the screen. So we keep 10 items and then we generate 5 more. So maybe we can have 5 here. Let's see. Okay, so it is working correctly now. So we have 10 items at maximum always. So when we generate a new batch, the old ones are removed, and yeah, so you see that this is the word that we have, this is the camera that we zoomed out, and this is the game. So you see that the parallax component is just a rectangle, and the point is that our camera is looking at it. And if you zoom in, so where was it? It was here. If you zoom in, you see that I'm animating it for you. Yeah, and when zoom is 1.0, you see the parallax component like a full screen. And yeah, so I just showed you that you can have infinite pipes spawning, and if you run it, you see that you can play the game and it generates pipe infinitely. And yeah, it's really fun to play. And one important point is that as you see, the pipes are on top of the player, so we need to have the player on top of everything. So to do that, as you remember, we had a property called priority. So it is like this, and this is an integer. Yeah, it's an integer, and it determines the priority, the render priority of the components that you have. So for example, here I can say 10, and the pipe can be, okay, we need to add a super here. Pipe is 2 because we have background behind that. And if I run the game, yeah, you see that the player is on top of the pipe now. And yeah, so I think that is enough for this video. We implemented the infinite loading of the pipes, and we are removing the old ones. We manage the memory, and everything is good. And in the next video, we are going to implement the collision detection. It's a very important topic to detect when the player hits the pipe. Then we can implement the game over and also the restart mechanism. Don't forget to hit a like and subscribe the channel, share it with your friends. I'm pretty sure that they would like it. And also we have other videos in this channel, so they are related to software engineering and Flutter, and you can take a look at them. Yeah, so have a nice day, have a nice evening wherever you are. See you next time. Bye.